Did you know my clients only ask 5 specific questions about the weather here in Northwest Arkansas? I get these questions every single time, all the time, and we're going to answer those specific 5 questions right now. Hey everybody, if you don't know who I am, my name is Phillip Shepard. I'm a local real estate agent located right here in Northwest Arkansas. I actually was a real estate broker located in Chicago for over a decade out of the great, terrible, horrible state of Illinois. I decided to leave the dumpster fire state and I looked all across America, the classic spots you might be looking at right now. I looked all across America, but I chose right here in Northwest Arkansas for a lot of different reasons. So obviously, if you want to check out Northwest Arkansas, definitely let me know. Give me a call, shoot me a text, give me an email, and we can talk about all the reasons why I chose Northwest Arkansas versus anywhere else in America. And if you haven't been down to Northwest Arkansas quite yet, I made something called the NWA Starter Pack. Sounds exactly what it is. It's literally a starter pack full of all the cool things Northwest Arkansas. What's going on downtown Bentonville? What's going on in Fayetteville? What are the hospitals like? What are the schools like? What are all the trail systems? What is everything going on in Northwest Arkansas? I package it up, boop, 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 ship it right to your home, right to your home. Enter your name below, enter your address below. Where's this package going to? Let me know the information below. I'll make sure they get the package shipped to you right away. Also, side note, it does come with your first free mountain bike, so that's pretty cool. And I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. It is my favorite 4-letter F word. Free! So enter your information below and make sure they get the package shipped to you right away. And the first question my clients always ask me about the weather in Northwest Arkansas, and this is in no particular order, but the first question is always, what is hail like? What is ice like? What is this like here in Northwest Arkansas? Now, I do admit I've been here since 2020. I've never experienced a major hailstorm here. I have seen hail come from the sky, but I do know back in 2018, hilarious enough, when you're in real estate, you get to see trends of like new roof 2018. There's a reason for that. So 2018, there was definitely a major hailstorm here, and it went through like Pinnacle Hills, Rogers area, and it took out a lot of roofs, obviously. So you see a lot of new roofs in around 2018 era. But for the most part, there have been pockets of hail here and there. I have yet to see, you know, those TikTok videos or maybe Instagram reel videos where like massive hails like almost coming through roofs. Haven't seen that here. I don't think that's ever been a thing here. I could be wrong, but I've never seen that here in the course of my couple of years here. And I haven't really, and some of the natives here haven't mentioned that at all. That usually happens around like Texas era or like southern, far south Arkansas, like that kind of area down there where it's even a stronger hot and cold area. Anyways, I have seen some hail here. I don't like it. It does come and go as it from time to time. Usually happens in the springtime most of the time. But I haven't really seen too many, like, when you're down here, you don't see cars driving around like all dinged up all the time. So it doesn't really happen. It's not prolific all the time, but I do know it does come obviously from time to time when it comes to the hail side. Now in 2028, I was not here at the time, but I do know that there was a major ice storm that came through here in Northwest Arkansas. Plus, it actually went through a lot of Tennessee and Kentucky. You might have maybe heard of this because I know power was out for a couple days in the area around here. And over in Kentucky and Tennessee actually got hit a lot worse than Northwest Arkansas. But I do know that 2018 was kind of like a major ice storm around here. But even since I've been here, there's only been even sleeting or icing occasionally, and usually it's like melted the next day. So I haven't seen any like horrible experience of like ice or hail. Now, obviously, it isn't that pathway where it can happen, but I do know that a lot of times it's that western side of Texas that gets hammered all the time. There was some hail that actually hit pretty hard down in like Hot Springs area and down in like Little Rock area as well. And so keep that in mind. And obviously, it's a possibility, but I haven't really, and we're going to talk about the reason why. I have a theory here in a second, but the reason why we don't have a lot of hail here in the first place. And the second question I get all the time about the weather here in Northwest Arkansas is about the heat. Now, this is one of the perks of living in this kind of strip right here, specifically in like kind of the Midwest South, like the North South, you want to call it that? I don't know. But anyways, we get heat. The average temperature honestly sits around like 92, 93 on average. But these last 2 summers have been a little toasty. Last summer was even more toasty. This summer has been toasty-ish, but there's been definitely days over 100 degrees. From what I've understood from the natives or people that have lived here longer, anything over triple digits is very rare, very rare. So the hot days here in Northwest Arkansas are gonna be like 96 to 97-ish. And those are a little unnormal because the average is like now 92, 93-ish. So like today right now, it's like it got up in 92. It's like actually it's early September now. But like we're still like leaning a little hot now. Obviously we're marching towards fall, but just on an average when it comes to heat in Northwest Arkansas, that is kind of the average around here. So I would consider manageable for me. I come from the north, from Chicagoland area, so it's still fine for me. If it was like over 100 degrees, I went to Austin this year and a bunch of other warmer places. That is, woo! That is toasty in those areas, so that is a lot different down there than Northwest Arkansas. But anyways, long story short, also something that couples with is humidity, and maybe you're moving from like Colorado, which is a very dry area, or California, also a very dry area, or Arizona, also a very dry area. It is one of those things where I've had people move from Arizona, Phoenix area specifically, or like Scottsdale, and they say it's net positive here because the heat is so extreme there sometimes. Even in California, people have moved from California to here. The humidity is going to be definitely be higher here than what you're used to because there's almost very little humidity in California depending on where you come from. Long story short, the humidity will be more, but anyone coming from the Midwest, like north, like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Illinois, Iowa, it'll be less humid here. It'll be warmer, but it'll be less humid. And before we jump on to the next point, I have something brand new called Instant Home Updates. So maybe you're looking to move to the area and you're using things like Realtor.com, Zillow.com, or Redfin. Way too slow. Notifications, way too slow. That's why I made something called Instant Home Updates. Sounds exactly what it is, literally Instant Home Updates. So enter your information below, name, square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms. Where do you want to move to Northwest Arkansas? What part of Northwest Arkansas do you want to end up when you eventually move your way down here? Let me know with all the information below. I'll make sure you don't miss a single notification when it comes for homes for sale or for rent, all in Northwest Arkansas. Also, every single Friday, I send an email out just kind of talking about all the cool things Northwest Arkansas. What's going on downtown Bentonville? When is First Fridays? When is First Thursdays? What's going on in Fayetteville? What are all the new businesses moving here? What's going on over in Pea Ridge? What's going on in Belleville? All the things, what's going on downtown Rogers? What's going on in Pinnacle? So many things going on all the time. All the time. Enter your name below, enter your email below. I'll make sure you get that email every single Friday, just kind of keeping you up to date with all the cool things Northwest Arkansas. But side note, you will get a little fear of missing out, little FOMO, so to speak. But I promise you will be the most informed person eventually when you make your way down to Northwest Arkansas. And the third question I get asked all the time about weather here in Northwest Arkansas is specifically about tornadoes. Now, a lot of times, we are next to Oklahoma, which is like Tornado Alley over there. Now, here's the thing about tornadoes. The only time that I've known that there's been a landed or like a touchdown tornado near Northwest Arkansas, and we're gonna talk about why that's a little different here in the future in a second, but there's only been one, there's one last year, so that was probably the most major tornado. If you ever go on tornadoes in Northwest Arkansas on Google, that is gonna be the one that shows up because that's the only truly one that ever caused damage was last year. It was actually in Springdale because Springdale is actually the flattest-ish part of Northwest Arkansas. And so what happened was that it touched down, it took down a cell phone tower, it took down a warehouse, and it took roofs off a couple homes. Some people were injured, no deaths. So they classified it as an E2 or E3, but it was short-lived on the ground and then took back up and it took down. So it was damaging, but it wasn't catastrophic by any shape or form. Now the question is, why has there only been like one major kind of actual touchdown reported tornado in Northwest Arkansas in like the history of Northwest Arkansas? Now, caveat, there was a reported tornado near XNA about a couple of years ago. I mean, like we're talking like 10, a decade ago, and it got close to XNA, the airport, and it kind of like did some damage around like the warehouse around there. And then thirdly, there was a tornado kind of touched down near Salem Springs. And so let's talk about why they're so far and few between here. And that's because if you go to the top of Mount Sequoia in Fayetteville, you're gonna see this like shelf line of rolling hills and mountains that start at the actual, like at the border of Arkansas and Oklahoma. So as storms roll across Oklahoma, they hit the line of hills or mountains, whatever you wanna call them, mostly hills. And the storms, for most part, always dissipate. If you start watching the weather here in Northwest Arkansas and you're seeing like what storms come through, you're gonna see storms all the time come across Oklahoma. And as soon as they get to Salem Springs area in Oklahoma, they just dissipate. There is literally a phrase around Northwest Arkansas called the Fayetteville Fizzle. Yes, that's a word. And there's a theme song created by the weatherman here called the Fayetteville Fizzle. I'll just play a little bit right now.
It's gonna crush those storms and wake in that big sail, 'cause it's the Fayetteville Fizzle. Bet you a dime it'll miss us every time.
Yeah, so it is common knowledge around here as storms roll across Oklahoma into Arkansas, they for the most part always dissipate. That doesn't mean that there could be something in the future. We are kind of sitting in that tornado alley. Side note, there was a lot more intense, wild tornadic storms in Illinois because all those places up in Minnesota, Illinois get way more intense storms because the Canadian cold hits with the southern heat, explosive storms out there. So for me, these storms are child's play compared to what I'm used to. Anyways, Coming down here, there are very few tornadoes, obviously from just record keeping, and just because the Fayetteville fizzle or the fizzle of the storms that come across Oklahoma, they usually honestly dissipate a lot of times and usually go the different directions. And the fourth question my clients ask me all the time pertaining to weather is fall time. What is fall time like here? Fall time, obviously in America, is probably the most wanted, between summer and fall, the most desired season. Now the question is like whenever you ask the person what they want, if you ask them dead of winter, what's your favorite season? It's summer. If you ask them during summertime, what's your favorite season? It's fall. So that's just, I'm sure that's how it is in America. Long story short, falls here in Northwest Arkansas are very long. And that's one thing I really was looking forward to when moving here. And so twofold is that obviously it stays warmer longer. And on top of that, and this is probably the biggest reason, is that we get fall foliage. It's kind of like a secret thing around here, is that when you go to New York, the fall foliage is just popping. People love it up there for a short period of time. Here, fall and fall foliage last a long time because a lot of this area in Northwest Arkansas, we have oak trees. Now, coming back from a horticulture background, back when I was like 10 years old doing grass and horticulture and mowing and landscaping, the whole thing before I got my real estate license with my parents' brokerage. Anyways, I knew that oak trees, the leaves hold, first of all, they change colors a lot later and they hold on for a lot longer. So it's not shocking to have a full foliage and full orange all the way up until Christmas. There was one Christmas here that had like full trees. I'm like, this is a weird white Christmas, but it was a good fall Christmas, I suppose. Anyways, fall lasts here a lot longer. Usually the foliage will start changing around probably late September, early October, and then run all the way. Like we'll go through our silver maples, we'll go through our, first we'll do our paper birches, and then we'll go through our silver maples, and then we'll go through some of the willow trees, and then we'll go through this, and then eventually in like November, the oak trees will actually start fading and start changing colors all the way up until Christmas. So it's a long season when it comes to fall around here. And the final question my clients ask me pertaining to weather around here in Northwest Arkansas is about the winter time. Now, I'm not sure where you're gonna be moving from, but if you're coming from the north, you're gonna love it. If you're coming from Colorado, you're probably gonna love it too. If you're coming from California or Phoenix, maybe from Phoenix you still might like it because you want some sort of stability of life when it comes to heat. But if you're coming from other parts of America that's more like temperate, it'll be a little bit of a different from you because you will experience 30 to 32 to 34 degrees in the worst of times in Northwest Arkansas, and then probably the highs in the wintertime will be right around 40, 42, 43. But the nice thing in comparison from the north, coming from the north down here, is that it's a lot sunnier down here and it's a lot warmer in comparison when you're coming from. Now, if there's like a cold front that moves through in the north, if you're living in Minneapolis at the moment, if it gets down to -20, there's a good chance that if it gets down to -20 in like Minneapolis, it's gonna be like 25 or 30 degrees here at the nighttime and still hit those high 30s or low 40s or maybe even mid 40s in the worst of the worst of the worst. So long story short, if you're comfortable with like freezing, like 32 degrees or 30 degrees as an average low, and if you're kind of okay with like a sunny 40 to 45, you're gonna do just fine here. Now the major question is, does it snow here? I'm the problem, as Taylor Swift would say, like the problem is me. 7 years prior to this, before I moved here, never snowed. The moment I moved here, it started snowing every single year. So maybe you want a white Christmas, maybe you want kind of to see snow. Since I live here, evidently it starts snowing here, so you're welcome maybe. Anyways, every year since I've been here, it snowed. Usually does about like 3 to 4 inches at a time, sometimes 2 inches. Doesn't make a difference. It's gone the next day. And the world does shut down because there's no snow plows, there's no salt, nothing happens here. Just the world shuts down or just like slows down for the most part. So anyways, if you're looking to move to here and maybe see snow, there is a high probability, as long as I still keep living here, you will see snow. I'm sorry. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. Again, if you are thinking about coming down to Northwest Arkansas, download my 3-day itineraries link below. Maybe you're an adventurer, maybe you're a sports person, maybe you're a foodie, maybe you're a sightseer, maybe you have kids, whatever it is. There's a 3-day itinerary link down below for you. So go ahead and download it and use it to get down here. Also, if you do come down here, I can give you the $10 tour so I can kind of show you around the whole area. Plus, we can check out some homes for sale or for rent and see how far your dollar would go in Northwest Arkansas compared to where you're coming from. All right, guys, I'll see you next one.
It's the Fayetteville Fever.